Yeah.
Yeah, it's my pleasure to welcome Francisco Ramos
What's
to my
up?
podcast. So I was trying a little bit of Spanish with the tongue thing.
Oh, really?
Because I noticed you do it really well.
Well, because I was born with it.
But how do you pronounce your last name? Ramos?
Ramos, yes.
Ramos.
I mean, like Ramos. Yeah, that's correct.
Oh, okay. So
That's
how many
good.
times your tongue has to do that thing?
No, I mean, you
Ramos.
never. It's weird if somebody, even if somebody speaks, like it's not like I'm with my family or friends that speak Spanish. I go like, like that'd be like it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. Oh, okay.
That'd be weird. I'd be like, what's
Ramos.
wrong with you?
Oh, okay.
Every time you gotta roll your, I'm gonna get in el carro. Like,
Yeah.
nobody does that.
Okay, cool. Well, thanks so much for coming again.
Of course. Thanks
Yeah.
for having me.
Yeah, and I remember, I think we first met at the Comedy Magic.
Yes.
Yeah,
I think so. Yeah. Right.
Then I saw you. I was like, "Hey, I just saw you on the show Gentrified." You know?
Yes, that was when it happened,
yeah.
and it was so it was at the Comedy Magic Club, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean,
Fun club.
yes, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but when did you start doing comedy? Like,
Oof, let's see. So basically, I moved. It was kind of like 15 years.
15
ago or
years.
something like that,
Okay.
When I moved to LA, because I grew up in. So I was born in Venezuela, but we moved to the U.S. when I was 12. Or 11, 12.
Okay.
And then we moved to D.C., Maryland. That's where I grew up. Like that's where I grew up. And
DC has a great comedy scene there. Too.
yeah, but it's funny because I never did any comedy in DC because I majored in finance and international business.
Oh man,
So that's-
you have lofty goals.
Yeah. No. I mean, I had them, and then I was like, and then I discovered comedy, and then
Yeah.
and then the goals of money went down the drain. You know.
I remember Monty Python. I don't know if you.
Yeah, no.
Yeah. There's like. They have a line, the sailing the high seas for international finance or whatever.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I had no idea.
Yeah. But then,
Wow.
It's a sketch.
Oh, okay. I was like, you got me. I was like, I'm like Monty Python.
Monty
That's
Python, yeah. Oh yeah, in Comedy Magic Club was also the place I met. I remember, what's his John Cleese's daughter?
Yeah. Camilla.
Camilla Cleese.
Yes.
I was like, whoa.
She's great. Yeah, that's so
I
cool.
was such a fan of the Monty Python.
Yeah,
thing, so,
they're
it's
amazing.
a pleasure. Yeah.
That's they're icons, you know.
Oh yeah, I know. So, but growing up in Venezuela,
Yeah.
do you watch American comedy?
No, because
No?
well, when I was growing up, no, I mean, I was like, again, I was a kid, so I was watching just cartoons and stuff. The only thing that I did remember started when I was getting a little older, you know, like 10, 11 or something like that. I did start watching Saved by the Bell. Remember Saved by the Bell?
Yeah,
You know, with Zach
I know.
Morris.
Yeah, I know that show, but I never watched.
never watched it?
Yeah, because
Okay.
it wasn't shown in China.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think there was one show that was pretty popular. All in the Family, some kind of family
Okay,
show.
It was called All in the Family. Yeah. That's what it's called. Yeah. I
okay.
think it was. But that was more like, you know, like I think in the 70s or 80s. You know. Like,
Oh yes.
Yeah.
And then later on, who got really popular was Bob Saget.
Oh yeah, with Full House.
No, not Full House. The
The
America's Funniest Videos.
Yes.
Yeah,
They would
man.
show that in China.
In China,
Really?
He was huge.
He was
there.
huge in China?
Oh, yeah, but then I bet a lot of people. I don't think he knew about it until I told him about it.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Oh, you told him.
Yeah, we used to tour together for a few times.
All right.
Yeah, I just told him about it. He was really happy. Oh, so okay.
That's great to know. Like that's the thing. Like I've seen as comics right now. Like we should. Well, obviously, I think one thing was like 20, 30 years ago, there was no the internet wasn't around, so you couldn't know what has happened in other countries and stuff like that. But it'd be great if we know, like, hey, if I'm big in a country, like if I'm big in Finland, let me know.
Oh yeah,
because I can go do shows over there and do something. You know what I mean?
know.
It's like because we might never know. You know, right now you may be very popular in some country and you have no idea.
Yeah. But I just know that Conan O'Brien was big in Finland or something.
Yeah,
because he looks like their prime minister. Mr.
Gordon,
Worldwide.
yeah, I saw that. That's funny.
It's kind of funny.
Hey, I'm cool with being big in somewhere, you know.
Yeah, you don't mind the cold there, just go.
Yeah, no, hey, it's to work, right?
Yeah. So, before we started taping, we talked about our families, and my family is
Yes.
still in China, and your mom is in Venezuela.
Yes, yeah.
Because like from American media, it just Venezuela is just
They painted it as I mean, look, it's like two things. Of course, it is bad. I mean, it shouldn't be. What's going on is it's bad. People, a lot of people, are not living well. There's a lot of, especially mostly outside of the capital, which is Caracas. There's a lot of stuff, like. The health, there's no work, gas, or there's no food shortage, all this other stuff. But it's also not like war zone.
Okay.
You know what I mean? It's not
see.
like my mom. I wouldn't. First of all, I mean, what kind of son would I be? But like my mom is just like fighting. Like oh yeah, she's right. It's like
You needed help? No.
I'm good here. No. It's like it's not like that either.
Okay.
So it's like, and it's what we're talking about. Like, and then also what we talked about is also like. She's very proud of being Venezuelan, and she likes living over there. She's got her, besides I just have other family there too. I have aunts and uncles and cousins that live over there,
important, yeah.
And she has her friends from childhood and from forever as well. So she likes being there, she has a life there which is true. Like, I mean, if she was living here in LA with me, like, they were she wouldn't be doing anything, you know what I mean?
She's probably just gonna go to your comedy shows all the time.
No, she doesn't even go. Like, my mom, like, I think she sees me, but like, I don't know has your family seen you watch comedy or do comedy?
Yeah, that's the thing, because I do comedy in both countries. When I was in America, my father-in-law came to my show.
Okay.
He doesn't understand a word of English.
Yeah.
But but he's very supportive.
Oh, that's good.
If nobody's laughing, he would elbow them.
Hey, laugh.
Yeah.
It's like he's done. This is a different comic.
Exactly.
It doesn't matter. Just laugh.
Yeah. But then, but you have relatives in the U.S.?
Yes, I do. I have, I have cousins that live in, several states in the U.S., like Utah and Denver, and Connecticut and all,
Oh, okay.
And,
well, that's good.
So I have some cousins here, but not in,
connections.
and then my sister lives in Spain. So, so
wow.
I have like,
Yeah, your family is
it's all over. Yeah, and it's like
quite international. I'm just saying.
Yeah, it's like at least I have somewhere to go just in case something happens. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
you and me both, actually.
Yeah. But I was gonna say I wanted to ask you that too, because you mentioned that you do comedy also in Chinese. I'm like, and I'm starting to do comedy in Spanish.
Oh wow!
So
Okay.
it's like, how did you like? Is obviously there's a difference. It's like, first of all, which one did you start doing first?
Oh, English.
Me too.
Yeah.
So was it
I know.
tough to like go right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Because this is where I am right now.
I know.
Because people think because we speak the language
exactly,
that it's like it's an easy transition.
Oh.
It's like it's not to me. It's like I think the easiest terms for somebody that doesn't know stand up is kind of like when you learn a song in English.
Yeah.
And then like, well, now singing in Spanish. I was like, well, no, I learned it in English. You know, I don't know how to sing, or I have to work at it to sing in Spanish.
Yeah, but people don't think too much.
People don't think.
Yeah, exactly.
People don't think.
We found out, myself included. I don't like thinking.
Of course,
Man, it's tough because I started in America, then I got on TV a couple of times.
Okay.
Yeah, then I went to China. They put me on TV. They're like, "Oh, you're a stand-up comedian. Tell us some jokes." I was like, "Oh no," because I didn't do jokes in Chinese before.
Of course.
So I had to kind of translate on spot.
Yeah,
it's tough.
It was tough. Yeah, It's for me in Spanish, it's like. It is a thing that what I learned, because now I've been doing it more. I want to get more into. I want to be able to do fully, English, Spanish, and I'm getting better at it. But the beginning is just more
you have
about
a huge market in America.
Yeah. So I want to do more, but I think I don't know if it happens to you. To me, it's like what I found is like the rhythm in Spanish is different than in English. Like in English, it's fast, it's quick. It's like get to the funny fast. Words per last per minute. It's like ta 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 ta. In Spanish, I don't think it doesn't work that well like that. I think you got to be a little more like talk more, add more stuff, add more words. It become more of like a conversation than just like boom, 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 boom. You know what I mean? I don't know if it's in Chinese the same way.
In Chinese, Chinese has two different styles too. You know, because I think the biggest thing in Chinese entertainment for the past 10 years is the rise of stand-up comedy.
Really?
Yeah.
There's same in like, I think Latin America.
Oh, really?
It's just new. That's another thing too. It's still new.
Oh, yeah.
So people still don't know. That's what I tell people the most. It's like, look, the American stand-up has been around since 50s, 40s, 50s. You know, it's ingrained 60s. In the culture of like everybody. Even if you've never been to a stand-up show, you already know what stand-up is in a way. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
So, like in Latin America or something, there's still people that don't know what stand-up is. So they come and they sit like it's a play.
Oh yeah.
And they're like watching, and you talk to them. They're like, why is that person talking to me? I was like,
Well, that's very similar to the situation in China about 7-8 years ago.
Okay.
Yeah, because I went there. Sometimes I do smaller shows just to let people know stand-up comedy.
Yeah.
And after a show, this lady raised her hand. I was like, finally someone's interested in stand-up. I was like, what's your question? She's like, should my grandson go to America to study? I was like,
she thought it was like a recruitment for like a thing for
maybe it's the glasses. I don't know what.
It's like, what is this like? So how do I get my visa to go to America to work? It's like, no, this is stand-up.
Exactly, But now people are just very familiar with it, and there are like different styles of stand-up. Now people understand that.
That's cool.
Yeah,
that's the tip because it is different. It's like music.
Yeah. There's
different types of music, and we all have different types of stand-ups, and it's like and more more pop, which is more universal, and other ones are very niche. In stand-up.
Exactly. We got jazz, we got hip hop.
Exactly. Heavy metal. It's like the dirty, edgy comedy. Like just dark comedy.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Like that's a style that some people love and some people don't like.
So you started comedy first or started acting first?
No, comedy first. Comedy first. Yeah. I did. So my journey was started when I was like, again, graduated finance. I started working, and I was like, I had like a quarter life crisis at that point. You know what I mean? Where I was like going through the motions and going like, I really remember going to work and going like, man, if I keep doing this till I'm 40, I'm gonna kill myself. You know what I mean? It's like, this is not, because it was so everything. I didn't have a passion for it. You know what I mean? I was like, just go in there and you do the things, and then you do this, and the weekends you go party and you do this. It was like everything was like kind of laid out for you. And I was like, okay, I gotta find something. And then I did research on my own, read books and all that stuff, and that's when I found that I like, comedy.
You found out stand-up comedy from a book? What?
No. Like it was a pop-up book. It was like, no. I found out. No, it was basically I was reading books to find out what I wanted to do or like what my passion was, and then there was a great book that basically gave you exercises to find out what you wanted to do, and and it kind of opened my eyes to be like, I like comedy. I like ever since I was little. I like making people laugh. I like watching comedy a lot. I like all this. So everything's kind of like, this is what I like. So I signed up for an improv class. And like I never told anybody. I never did any acting when I was like growing up, anything like that. And I did the improv class the first day, and that's when everything kind of clicked. Because I remember, I don't know if it happened to you, I was like, it was the first time that I was like, I'm good at this. And I was like, I felt like I was like better than most people there. And like, and naturally, not because I'm like arrogant, more like, man, it comes easy to me. And I got it right away, and I wanted to do it again. And that's when everything started. So that's how I got into the improv classes. And then I moved to LA to start doing more improv.
Oh.
And then
Like
and then I
UCB
started doing
and
it.
stuff?
I did a
Wow.
Groundlings.
A Groundlings. Oh, okay.
Yeah, because I liked SNL. I wanted to be like SNL and all that stuff. And then as I was doing, improv, as we know, I don't know if anybody, improv is like you need more, so obviously you need a core group of people.
I know, yeah.
And I never found that core group of people that were on the same page. So I started doing open mics. And that's when I just basically started doing stand-up, in that way. So
how was the transition from improv to stand-up?
it was it was great it was good because it was more of the fact, not that because I dislike improv. I always said if I would have found like two other people that were in the same boat of like doing, I probably would have never done stand-up. I would have started just doing sketches and just fall off.
Man, so you started stand-up because you got no friends. No.
Well, I think that's what pretty much stand-up I think every stand-up is not the most popular guy or girl in school. That's everyone. We're all doing that because we want friendship. We want people to like us. That's
exactly.
So it's like, I think, but yeah, no, it was true. It was like I didn't find anybody, and I started doing it on my own, and I just felt that I was like, okay, yeah, I can just do it, and also I started liking it. I started finding people that were on that had the same mindset. You know what I mean? That thing that we do where nothing is serious, nothing is off limits, like, which is now that we're stand-ups. I don't know how you. Like when I especially go back home and meet my friends that are just have regular lives. Yeah, it's like I have to remember, hey, I can't joke with them or talk to them like a stand-up. I don't know if that's with you, because sometimes you do. I remember I started and they're like, oh, why did you say that? I'm like, I'm just joking around, relax. But they take it seriously. So I was like, because stand-up, that's how we do. We're always riffing. We're always doesn't matter if it's whatever it is. There's nothing that's off limits.
Exactly. You have to say something out of the norm.
Of course.
Unexpected.
Yeah.
But I did improv for about half a year.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Which one?
I was in Boston at the time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I just remember I really enjoyed it.
At school? Was it a special?
Yeah, I took a improv class.
Okay.
And then we just started to perform in different places.
Yeah.
I just remember some people just got so frustrated.
Really?
I remember this. I think she's grew up here.
Okay.
I thought in the beginning I felt challenged because English is my second language.
Of course, it is. Yeah.
But then when we did this game, the alphabet game, we have to make conversation starting alphabetically.
Yeah.
Man, by the time we got to what letter? I think it's W or something.
Yeah.
She couldn't come up with anything. She just took off. She left the stage. Yeah.
And during the middle of the show?
In the middle of the show.
Wow.
I was like, oh no.
And what was the letter? A? She's like, no. We just started the show.
And then she runs back. Yeah, that's letter A.
Apple. That's my favorite.
Yeah, or AH. That's also
That's hilarious.
Man, but then still, after I spent half a year doing it, I went back to doing stand-up comedy. I felt weird. Yeah, I was like, oh no, I'm here. I have nobody to rely on. Yeah.
Oh, got it.
I just feel awkward. I was like, oh, what? Then I just.
But you started stand-up first, and then you went to improv, and then you went back to stand-up.
Yeah, because I just worried that if I'm too comfortable with improv, I'm gonna suck at stand-up. Yeah, just like
got it.
Yeah, so I just went back to stand-up. Yeah,
got it. Yeah, no, for me, like again, I think it's great for both, and I think anybody can do both. I think it's a great skill to have. I mean, I think it's just knowing. It is kind of like playing. It's like acting too. You talk about acting. It's like that took me a learning process of how to act, because a stand-up is all you.
Yeah.
So you gotta provide everything. You can't, when you're acting, you're just one piece of the whole thing. So like you can't just like be as big, for example. In the beginning, I remember when I started just auditioning, taking acting class and everything. It was more like, it was like too big because I was too moving. I was like, all right, relax. It's like, and it, so that's basically the thing. It's like, you can, as a stand-up, or you can act and you can do improv, but you gotta know, okay, now I'm doing improv, so now I have to forget, or now I'm acting, now I'm more more calm or more, everything's here. You know what I
Okay.
mean? So it's like but it took me a while to learn that. You can't just do the same thing.
Yeah.
It just doesn't
it's
work.
a different skill. Yeah.
I feel like it is it's kind of, you can take from each one and bring it to the thing, but then you also have to be like, well, I can't be going crazy,
Okay.
or like, especially for me, because my stand-up in the beginning was very like energetic and like physically, I'm like, what's up? So it's like, you can't do that on in a scene when somebody's dying.
Yeah, but I think you're still quite animated on stage.
Yeah.
But not as
But
much
not
as before. Yeah. I can tell that. Yeah.
Because I think it's also like, I don't know if it happened to you before. You take one thing that people laugh at you in the beginning, and you're like, well, I'm gonna milk. This is what makes me confident.
Yeah.
So like, I remember, I would always get laughs out of my physicality and my faces, but then it's like, then you have to graduate. You know what I mean? To be like, all right, now like I can't just rely on that. You know what I mean? It's the same thing with us, I guess, as immigrants in another country doing English. It's like, it's fine to do some, in the beginning, I would do more bits about, having an accent and being from, but now I'm like, I don't, now I just talk about whatever I want to talk about, you know what I mean? Because you have to, you can't get stuck doing the same thing forever.
I know.
You know what I mean? You're like,
So how long does it take for you to feel comfortable acting, actually?
What do you mean? Like like,
for example, if I give you a script and say, hey, do this audition tomorrow.
Okay. Yeah. Now I'm much more comfortable. Like, I think I'm finally in the range or the phase where I feel like I'm as confident as I do stand up in terms of like, hey, can you guys do that? Yeah, cool. Like, it just happened to me the other day where like they're like, I was doing this audition and I get into the audition and they're like, oh yeah, so we're gonna do it in Spanish. I was like, what? Everything was, all the audition was in English. I prepared in English, and they're like, you did it in Spanish. I was like, okay, so I just did it right away but I felt very, it wasn't like, I was very comfortable. I was like, okay, I'll do it
how
in
long
Spanish.
does it take for you to get comfortable with it?
I think it's like stand-up. You got, the more you do it, the more auditions you do, the more you're on set, the more you start, just experience. That's pretty much it. I don't think there's anything. It's the same way that for me, stand-up. Like, stand-up at the beginning, of course, I wasn't comfortable. The more I did it, the more you start going like, oh, okay, you start getting more confident. You start what you're doing. Same thing with acting. It's like,
but how often do you act or audition? Like, twice every week, or
no, it depends. How it varies. Sometimes you get like a lot of auditions a week, and then you go a month and no auditions. So it's like, I think that's why, to me, acting is good. The classes are good. Acting, if you can take acting classes, is always good, because that's like being in the gym. Like for us, stand up, we practice stand up because we're doing sets all the time. And if you're not doing, I think the only way to get, sharp or with your acting is to keep doing, or if you meet with it doesn't have to be an acting class. It could be, you meet with friends and you run scenes or whatever, I don't know, but you do need to. But I feel the most experience is the auditioning, and then if you're on set, like that happened. I did a movie that last year. It's called The Unexpecteds, and hopefully it comes out earlier this next year.
Oh, okay.
And it was the first time that I got a part where I was one of the leads, and I was in the whole movie. My parts have always been very like small, kind of like here and there. This one was like, and that experience that I got there just by being on set for like 3-4 weeks, just being, that really like. Again, like we were saying, get me more confidence and more comfortability on being on. And then you start going like, oh, I'm actually pretty good at this. Or also you start going like, I know more than I thought I knew. That's my thing. I was like, oh, okay. When they're like, hey, okay, this is your mark. Okay, which my camera here? Okay, you're looking at, like little things like that. I was like, oh, okay, I get it, But it is, you have to go through it, because I remember the first time I did, one of the first auditions that I got was with Cameron Crowe, the guy who did what's that movie? Almost Famous.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I remember I did it, and I was like, it was I think I was doing some small part, but like, and And then I remember like asking the casting director, like, what happened? He's like, yeah, no, he said, you're good, but like, you're too green. You know, you're too, and which at that, it was like, I was like 2 years into moving here, which with no acting experience or nothing. And I was like, yeah, that makes sense because, and it makes sense in the, in the production world because it's like, it's like, hey, it's not that you're not good. It's like, hey, you know, I can't, if I'm producing something and I want you to be on it, I'm like, and we're recording right now, I'm like, okay, do it, and you can't do it, you can't do it. It's like, I can't spend time teaching you how to do it. You gotta be able to. And then some people just have like anything in the world. Some people it comes naturally. They know how to relax into a camera, whatever. You know, I think most people obviously you need to practice, and
it's always the case. But you know, and the people for whom it doesn't come naturally, it doesn't mean they're not a great actor. You know?
No.
As long as you work on it, you could be great.
Of course, I think it's like, look, it's like I'm a very big sports fan, so I look at it sports. You know, like a LeBron or like a Messi. You know, like those guys, they're born with it. You know, like they're exceptions. They're just like they pick up the ball and they just start doing it. Like. Most other people, you can have talent, but you have to work at it, you know. And like, so it's like
most people are like that, unfortunately.
That's how we are. I mean, it'd be great if I was just like, it just comes out naturally.
Exactly. Wow. So, what's your? Did you have any accident on set?
Accidents on set?
Yeah.
Like, what do you mean? Like I pee myself or something?
Well, yes. Let's talk about that.
No, like, what do you mean accidents?
So this happened to me when I was doing a series, because I played a gambler who ended up having to kill a mafia guy.
Oh, nice.
So basically, we had a fight scene in the living room.
Yeah.
And I accidentally kicked the coffee table. My toe was bleeding.
Oh, shit.
And then they have to take me to another room to wrap it up.
Yeah.
And we have to redo the scene again. Oh. And then I kicked the coffee table again. And then finally we finished the scene. And then the director said, well, yeah, why don't you take a rest there? So I was taking a rest and stuck my leg out. And this stage, what do you call them? Production assistant or something?
PAs.
The PAs,
yeah.
The guy was pushing a cart and it ran over my toe again.
Oh my God.
It was like, my God, 3 times. And then I said, finally, we finished the whole scene. I had to go home. When I was at the airport, my toe got run over by a lady with the suitcase again. So the 4 times, it was like, what the?
It's like a Naked Gun movie. Like,
I know. Man, because when they're not lucky, it just keeps going. I was like, what?
That's hilarious.
Oh, man. Yeah, it just doesn't stop. And also, I have to fly to Shanghai to do the movie.
Okay.
To do the episode or whatever.
Yeah.
But then what I didn't know is they actually shoot the entire episode from the end. The end was
because sometimes that's the thing that most people don't, you know, you never shoot chronologically. You shoot, it's like it just depends on like whatever location you have, or you know, so you can literally start with the end of the movie
I know. So basically the movie ends with the father I played being in jail, and his 8-year-old daughter comes to jail to visit him. I just got off the airplane. I wasn't quite into the scene yet. And then I was just like behind bars. And this 8-year-old girl saw me. She was like, Daddy. And then she just started crying.
And then she stepped on your toe.
Then I started crying. But it was never the case. But then the first thought going through my head was like, oh shit, the little girl is a better actor than me. I just started.
But you know, that's funny. Have you seen the last movie, Tarantino, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood?
No, I haven't seen that one. Yeah.
The gist of it is like DiCaprio is like this. It was this like very famous, like actor in the 60s or you know, and now it's like the 70s, late, and then he's not as famous anymore. So now he's just getting like small parts. and then he does a scene with like a little girl, and the girl's like really good actor, and he's like, and he just goes to his trailer, he's like, come on, what the fuck's that? You know, like it was that whole like literally had that same thought of like, what, this girl's better than me, or like,
oh man, that's the tough side of acting.
No, look, and I think that's where, you know, this is where really, because you're saying like, oh, I wasn't ready and I wasn't all this stuff, or like, this is literally what the part of acting that's the tough part of acting, that it's not like you can just sit there and just start. You know, you really gotta, it's about the process that you do before to get into whatever you need to do. If you need to cry, if you need to be mad, if you need to, you know, and that's where the acting techniques work. The acting is, you know, it could be, you know, like literally, like I heard sometimes that people, you know, like they put something on their toe, like for example, or like a rock in their shoe. So for example, if you're like hurting and you're like you gotta pretend that your leg is hurting, so you do that, so you don't have to like literally like you're actually feeling it. So little things like that, you know, like, you know, that, but that is part of the process of, to me, of like, of like, okay, how do I get into this character? How do I get into this thing? How do I, you know, like, so it doesn't, because it is the worst part of acting. And I mean, if you're a bad actor, is like, or not an experienced actor, is like, you think you're just going to get there and like automatically or magically, you're going to feel somebody. No, you have to, that needs to be going. So by the time they go action, you're in it. Yeah. You know, but which is stand up to me. It is the same way.
Yeah, but stand up, you usually don't have to cry.
Well, sometimes you do after the show. After the show, you're like, what am I doing? We cried afterwards in our hotel rooms or in the car. You're like, what am I doing with my life? You know?
Oh man, but then I do feel better a day or two afterwards, because we have to shoot for a month. You know,
of course you get into.
I just feel that I am the character. You know, I'm this fish vendor with a family.
Of course, and I think that's and that to me, this is like what I was talking about being on set for me like 3 weeks too. I was like, oh okay, now I felt in the beginning you're like but once a couple of days go, you're like feel comfortable. And also that comfortability, that's literally what you need to have for auditioning. You know what I mean? So it's like,
that's another tough part.
To me, that's auditioning is such it's funny because some actors are, you know, they're like, I hate it. They're really good at when they act in their own set, when they have time to prepare and stuff like that. But like, it's a skill to audition, because you also got to be like, it's like you don't have to be perfect, but I think that's the word comfortability of like, okay, I can see this person and I know they're very experienced, or they're not gonna be they're not gonna stop the production. They're not gonna be a mess to work with. All this stuff that you gotta do in an audition, you know, to be like, okay, I can work with this person. Especially if it's a big role, you know, like you gotta, you know. So that's what you're saying. That comfortability. That's what you need to bring as much as you can in an audition, I think.
Oh wow! Well, that's a very interesting perspective.
I'm giving all this advice. It's not like I'm booking that much stuff. So like,
but still, you know, this is something I never learned from my acting class. You know, just like my acting class is all about, you know, getting it's funny because it's like, familiar with the lines.
And that's the thing. I think it's like, I feel like I remember I took an acting class and it was all about sensory and like, you know, like your senses and all this stuff. And I'm like, you know, so you find it's very like heavy stuff, and I'm like, I'm auditioning for like a commercial that says it's like, you're next, you know, like what do I need? It's like, can I just learn how to just be comfortable doing that first? You know what I mean? So I think it's like there's some, you know, like I think it's like it is like if you want to get more deeper into the stuff, it's great, but like in the beginning, you don't need to like do all this unless you're taking a course. And even then, like if you're taking, let's say, you know, you go to England and take 1 year course on acting, it's like, they're not starting you they're starting you with like the beginning of intro of how you know, like you can't just start, you know. So
I think that you got a great point there.
I don't think it's like sometimes it's like, hey, just do the line. You know what I mean? It's like we don't need to like, this is not. There's a funny.
You don't have to think about your childhood.
Like
to do this line, you know.
Well, I got two funny stories. Well, one is like, I forgot who told me, but it's like, you know, Minority Report.
Oh yeah, yeah.
That movie, you know, so they were like, you know, there's the twins that you know they were in the pool.
Oh yeah, you know, I can't remember the details now. I've definitely seen the movie.
But it's,
yeah.
you know, with Tom Cruise, like it's about the guy who in the future, the cop or stuff. But like, so the whole thing is like they found out who was killing people. They were like twins. There were two males and one female that were in the pool that would get those things, you know. So the story is like, you know, Steven Spielberg directed it, you know. So like one of the stories, like one of the twins, one of the guys is in the pool, you know, he's in the pool like this, you know, like there's water here, and like, so then he has to probably say like one line or something, or a couple, you know, whatever, and like he just keeps messing it up. He's like, you know, and this is like, again, huge movie. You know, what's his name?
Spielberg's
directing. It's like action,
yeah.
fucks up the line. Action, fucks up the line. You know, and then finally, I think apparently like Steven Spielberg, like, you know, goes to like, this is the guy in the pool like this, and Steven, like his face comes in. He's like, hey, so are we good? Are you gonna say this line? So, and the guy's in the pool like this, like, yeah. And then he messes up again. They're like, all right, we'll move on, and they cut his line. You know, and like he didn't get a line on the thing, and like, so that's what I mean about being like, you know, ready and comfortable. You know, like, and also where like just say the line. You know what I mean? It's like, and you don't have to be like, like this is not. It's also know what type of role you have. I mean, there is that saying of like no line is small, or there's no small parts,
no
or
small
whatever.
Parts,
which I do believe that. But also it's like, I feel like you can add like, there's no small part, but also like, don't take it, if your small part is saying like, table's ready, just say the fucking line. Like, you don't need to fucking, you don't need to get into this whole thing of because if like, at that point too, like, you also have to realize it's like, you're not the number one on the call sheet. They want you to like do the line, hopefully one or two takes and move on, because they gotta move on. You know, you can't just be not messing the line. You're like, all right, then what do you do? You know. So.
I totally get it. Yeah, that's a good point.
That happened to me when I did a scene Shameless with
oh really? You're on that show too? I love that show.
It's funny. So I was doing the scene with William H. Macy, you know, the main guy.
Oh man, yeah.
And you're a great actor, great guy, and like, so I get there and we're on set, and he's like, hey, nice to meet you, I'm Bill, you know. I was like, oh, nice to meet you. He's like, hey,
he goes by Bill. Good to know.
Well, that's why he said, And then he's like, hey, you want to run the lines? And I was like, sure. So we do it, you know. And the guy's like, wow, and he says, that's great, because you don't know how many times people come here and they don't know the lines, which to me, that blew my mind. Because I'm going like,
that's a big production.
Of course. I was playing the manager of a bank, you know, again, one scene. So it's like my whole thing on that thing was like, I don't want them to spend time on me. If they're gonna spend, it's like, I gotta do my thing perfect, because I'm just a day player. I'm not. Will H. Macy can take his time. You know what I mean. So that's what I mean. It's like, be ready, do the things, you know, and then take directions, because you will take directions from the director, whatever. But like, and then another thing about acting that I learned just by that scene, watching Will H. Macy, was that it just shows you what acting is, where like, you're not acting, you're really the person or the character. Because I remember we were doing the scene, and you know, and I'm talking to him, he's just like, like not doing pretty much anything. And I go like, and then after this it's over, I'm going like, man, it's like, I don't know if he wasn't doing anything. But then you see the final thing, and he's doing so much. You know what I mean? Because it's all there. It's like, this is. Which is what acting is. You know, acting is not about doing it. It's about really being the
when person. The camera was on him, he just brings it.
He was just like, you know, like that. And I was like, you know, and because you're thinking it's like, he should be doing more. It's like, no, like, but when you see the final scene, you see like, everything is, because also it's like all in the eyes, it's all in his thoughts, it's you know what I mean? So to me, that really taught me like, that's what acting is. It's like,
that's what's going through his mind.
Yeah, he's just being the person, which is the person is like, you know, you don't need, because we're all, you know, it's
Yeah.
like I would say every person in the world, we're all characters. You think like I'm a character, you know, we think we're like normal.
Yeah.
Nah, you're a character, I'm a character, he's a character. But but we don't think like that because we're doing the same. It's the same thing when you're playing a character. You can't be playing the character. No, you're the character. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I totally get it. Because and most people are not aware of it. They feel that
they're like, no, I'm a normal person.
Yeah,
like, no,
I'm the norm. I'm the norm.
You're a funny character, but you're like, that to me, that's what, you know.
Remember the Seinfeld thing when George was like, "Oh, I think I'm the glue that holds the group together."
yeah, exactly.
I was like, "You're the weirdo."
Yeah, of course. They all have their, and that's to me, that's the thing. When you can find that. You can be as weird as you want as a character or whatever it is or whatever then it's like, but as long as it's real, that's what is gonna, you know, that's when it's gonna look. You know?
Yeah, and also like movie acting, because the camera captures a lot in your face. Yeah.
So that's why you gotta like, you know, you gotta be like, I'm watching the camera right now, like I'm looking, if I'm talking, and this is actually a tool that I learned, like. Like if you're talking to somebody like that, you look at like if I'm talking to you, and the camera's here, like I'm looking at this. This eye. Because if I look at this eye, then my camera. It's like, so if I want to open to camera, you know, you look at that. But then same thing, you can't move. It's like it's all these little things that like, because it makes sense. The camera is right there.
Yeah,
and that's what I was talking about with stand up. You know, stand up, you're doing everything. So then it doesn't transfer well when the camera's here and you're doing this too much, because then it's like it doesn't look good at all. You know, so.
Wow. Yeah, that's the thing with theatrical actors. They're more expressive because it's in the theater.
Yes, because it's like stand up. You gotta be big, so you are allowed to be big because you have to get the person at the last row to hear you. So you be like, hey. So even whispers are loud, you know. But that's why some theater actors have trouble.
Yeah, they have to switch
performing in you know. And as I think too, I think that's why some stand-ups can't or don't act well, or it's hard for them to act because again you're too big and now you gotta be like now you gotta bring that down or you gotta be more calm and you gotta be more like, and it is that switch that you gotta do that which I feel like, you know, I think that's why to me stand-up is the hardest thing that I think one of the hardest crafts, because to me stand-up can go and do acting, can do sing, can do anything, and you know, and they can be really good at it, you know. But to me, it's hard. I mean, I don't think if you're like an actor now, I want to do stand up, or if it's like that. I think you gotta start. It's like either you start as a stand up, and then that goes into this, you know, like then because again, it's hard to just, you know, you see it. I don't know. It's hard. All the good actors that were stand-up before, that did stand-up first.
I see.
It's like
it's not the other way around.
I feel like it's like, because stand-up is really hard, and like you can really go, again, it's easy to me, it's easier to be like, all right, now you got to be more calm to become an actor than to be like, all right, now you got to be funny on stage when it's everything's on you and you have to do everything, and you got to be able to know how to riff with the crowd or feel whatever. That's tough, you know.
No, because with acting, you know, you got lines written for you, but then
you got the lights and everything. You don't need to, you know, but I always say like stand up, we're the whole production. You know,
exactly.
In acting, you're just one piece of the 20 people in the production. In stand-up, we were everything. We gotta be loud, we gotta be funny, we gotta bring the lights, we gotta bring the whatever, blah, 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 you know, everything's on you.
Yeah, but are you social on set? When you're shooting a movie, you hang out with
no, I think, look, I think it depends on, it's where, I mean, I guess it depends. I mean, it's not like I've been on too many sets to know, but I feel like when you're like there's a difference of that. When I was like doing that role on Shameless, you know, I was like just minding my own business. For example, I would have loved to keep talking to William H. Macy, but he was just in his chair. I mean, I don't want to bother him. You know, I don't know if he's getting into character. You know what I mean? So it's like, you're nice to.
It's a workplace.
Exactly. Yeah. And I'll be, but I think you gotta be nice to everybody, with the PAs, with the people, whatever.
Yeah.
But it's like everybody's doing their own stuff. So it's like, but when I was doing this movie, yes, I had more time to be, I was more, because first of all, I was one of the leads, but also, so you have more time to kind of develop, friendships and, do this. So it's like,
Yeah.
But I think it's just, I think as anything, you got to be social, but you got to also respect people that want to, especially like, you can't be asking the director shit. Like, it's like, dude, I'm working here. Like, what the fuck are you talking? Like, get it, like,
Can I bum a cigarette from you?
Like, get out of here, right? It's like, I think it's just knowing your place to like know. I mean, there's literally a call sheet. It's called a call sheet, and it tells you like what's your number, and then like the number one is usually, let's say Minority Report, Tom Cruise is number one. If you're 195, just know that's that just should tell you, hey, just you don't be fucking talking to Tom Cruise, what I mean? Like, unless like you're doing the scene together, and when they're changing cameras, you can be like, like that happened to me when I was like, I did another one called, with it's a pilot, Angie Tribeca, which was on TBS.
I know. I love this show. It's a kind of absurd, Naked Gun type of humor. Yes, exactly.
So I did the pilot, and then I remember like when we're doing the scene, like it was like what's her name?
Rashida Jones.
Rashida Jones. It was her, and then this other guy. So like we're waiting, and then she's like, "Oh, I like your shoes." I was like, "Oh, thank you." Like, we start talking, and then action. Then we go. So that's the only time that I talked to her, but I wasn't going to like, "Hey, what's up?" Like,
you want to know where she was from?
I wanted, but it's like, so I feel like you gotta feel it out. It's like you can't just be friends, because of course you gotta be friendly, because that might come up with, if somebody likes you, like, hey, I'll get you in another project or whatever, so it's good.
Wow. I know. I remember this Ricky Gervais movie I was in.
Oh, really?
I go to the trailer. I'm like man number 3. I was like, okay, I know my place.
Nice. You were number 3 in the call sheet?
No. It's just the call sheet is long, but just I don't even have a character name. Man number 3. Okay, got it.
Okay, yes, exactly. Just know.
Oh man, there are a lot of comedians on that show. Louis C.K. had a role in it.
Which one? Which movie was that?
It was Invention of Lying.
Oh, got it. Yeah. That's a great movie.
Yeah.
You were in that. I gotta check it out.
Oh yeah, but the only reason I was in it was because it was shot in Boston.
Oh, so
I was in Boston.
Like a local.
Local. Yeah.
Hey, it works.
But they hired a lot of local theater actors.
Oh, okay.
And that was the problem. Yeah. Ricky has to keep telling them, "Oh, you need to pipe down. Pipe down."
Yeah. Especially like, I think that's why the English. To me, this is my opinion. That's why English actors are so, one of the best, or to me, or the best in terms of like the overall, like they're always, is because I think also their personalty is very like chill and like very calm,
very subdued.
So which works well for TV and movies, because everything's here, and like, and then you're not, like. You're not too wild.
I just remember this British TV show. This was, there's some alarm. Some community members are alarmed because this person's on the street smiling to people. That's so British.
Yeah, exactly. They're very like, which, and that's the thing with acting, is keeping everything inside, and you're not showing. Like if you're not gonna, like. What's more, for example, is like, what's more powerful? They like that to be crying like crazy, or to
try not to cry,
or to fight not to cry. That's what's in camera. That works much better. Or like the drunk. Like if you're drunk, what's the line? As a rule, it's like, you don't play drunk. Nobody that's drunk wants to say that they're drunk.
Oh yeah.
But it's like you're like, that's the whole thing. You don't play drunk. You're trying not to be drunk, and that's what So it's kind of like the same thing. It's just like not showing it.
Wow. Okay. So do you also write your own shows?
Yeah. I mean, I write. I wrote this short that I did a while back, Zoo Animals, that was like went to festivals and and,
really?
And HBO kind of like they bought it for like
Oh,
a
wow, good
license
for
it
you,
for like a
man.
couple of years.
Yeah.
And I write scripts and like trying to start working on a full feature script soon. What that I want to do as well. And but yeah, I like it's especially because my stand-up, I mean, is all very act out or very like, it's not so much about like a joke, but it's more about like a scene.
Yeah.
A little bit like that. So that's how I think. So it comes. That's why I feel like I like I like the writing, because it's like I'm creating scenes within the.
I see.
Yeah.
Well, wish you the best of luck, man.
Thank you, man. Hopefully.
Yeah.
I'll get you in the call sheet.
Oh yeah, I know. Yeah, man 3,
Man 2.
man 2. Oh yeah, bump me up a little bit. Yeah. Man, but then it's just like, but I remember you did the 800-pound gorilla.
Yes.
Thing. Yeah. When was that? I forgot.
That was the first. So I did an album a while back with them. That was like my first, like my only comedy album that I did.
So remind our audience, what's the difference between the album and a special?
Okay, well, because album. I think they did that more also like
old school,
old school, like, because before you could you would sell like an actual like album, like a CD or like LP, of comedy, you know what I mean, and people would listen to it, you know what I mean. So that's pretty much. So then the special is usually a special or something, or it's more of, obviously you're watching,
it's a visual,
the visual thing, but that can also become an album, you know what I mean. That could be there. So, but I did for that one I did with 800-pound gorilla, which is a great record label, and like what they did, which was great, is like they put my stuff on Sirius XM, so then it play there. I don't know if it keeps playing sometimes, so it's great. So that's but yeah, I did that, like maybe like 7 years ago or something. It's been a while. And then I have a new special that came out this year that I recorded at the Brad Garrett's Comedy Club.
I didn't know. Okay. I thought, that's what I was thinking. So you taped it in Vegas, actually.
The special, not the album. The album, I did it in the Ice House in Pasadena.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Nice. Nice. I love that room. Yeah.
That when it was before it got remodeled.
Oh yeah, the old one. Okay.
Yeah, the old one. Yeah, so I did it there. That one was for the album. The special that I did was at Brad Garrett's Comedy Club in Vegas. That was the one. That's in YouTube right now. It's called Venezuela American.
Oh, okay. Venezuelan American.
Venezuela American.
Oh, Venezuela American.
Yeah.
Okay, American.
But that's and then also like, so that one, it's also part of it's also on the roster of 800-pound gorilla as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, you have a kind of a working relationship with them.
Yeah. They did a great job with the album, and and they put it in the fact that they put it on Sirius and they put it on all this other stuff. It really gave me a little bump, on things. So yeah, I think they do a great job. I feel like they know what they're doing, obviously.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Oh, that's great. But then, is the whole production crew has to go from LA to Vegas, or is it hire local?
Well, that one. So this is the difference. What happened with this one? The Brad Garrett's one was produced by Brad Garrett's. So the idea was that he wanted to put it on his. He wanted to build a website for his club, and like, remember when Rodney Dangerfield would do like Rodney and Friends kind of thing? Yeah. So he wanted to do that. So he did several specials, like 30, 20, 25 or 20 minute specials for several comics that he likes in his club. So he did that. And the idea was to do that. It didn't happen, but being the nice person and the nice human being that Brad Garrett is, he was like, "Look, we are recorded. You can do whatever you want with it. It's yours." He gave
wow,
it, he gave
that's
it to
very
him.
sweet, man.
And then, yeah, he's amazing. He's a great
Man,
guy.
I've done like movies and stuff where the director is like, okay, the movie is not going anywhere, so
Yeah.
you don't have a copy either.
I
It's
know,
like, oh, just
I know.
like, yeah.
It sucks when you do stuff and like it doesn't.
There's nothing to show for
nothing
it.
to show
yeah,
for, yes.
I know it's probably not a great movie, but still, you know, I want to keep a record.
Of course, yeah.
Oh, that happened to me like once or twice, but actually. Twice now. It's
Yeah.
like, oh man, I was like, oh.
Yeah.
But I can't say anything. It was like, you know,
you
it's,
can't,
yeah,
yeah.
technically it's theirs. You know?
And it hasn't to be the other way where like I'm like it's not going and I'm like, whew, I'm glad they didn't get it. I didn't want that out there.
Oh, yeah.
I'm glad, but yeah. So he was gracious enough to do that.
Mm-hmm.
So then that's when I went to 800 Pound Gorilla,
Mm-hmm.
and they were like, look, it's ready. All you gotta do is you want to
man.
put it in your
That's really
YouTube
sweet.
and release it in your YouTube and stuff like that, and in your label, we can
Yeah.
do that. So then that's what happens. So, but usually, yes. Let's say you shoot a special with the 100 Pound Gorilla or whatever. You know, they will fly to wherever you need, and they bring all their productions and stuff like that, their cameras and everything. You tape it in that, especially with stand-up, because if you wanna do it in a certain city or a certain location, that's what you do.
Yeah, I mean, stand-up looks easy, but when you want to tape a special, there's actually a lot.
That's why you need to have a good director and
I know,
you need everything, because you need, it
how
needs
to mix the sound, you know,
all that stuff.
Oh man,
It needs to be sound crisp, good good direction, good cameras, good location, good audience, all this other
so many things can go wrong.
Of course,
yeah. Man, it's just. Anyway, I don't want to go into it, but just like there's a million really simple things that people can just completely ignore.
Oh, of course. Well, that's the thing with stand-up. I think people feel like because it's just one person us doing it, that is easy to do and that you can do it anywhere. I mean, remember when I was doing a lot of colleges back, universities and stuff like that, like people have no idea. Like you would show up to some places and they'd be like, oh, you're doing it in front of remember one time it was like, I had to do it. They were like, look, in order to get people to come to the show, we're giving free coffee. So they like in their like Starbucks kind of place in their campus, they did the show there. So there was like a line of people just to get free coffee. So the whole show, I'm doing the set. So it's like 3 people watching me. Everybody's just lying just to get coffee, and it's like, and I'm like,
oh God.
And you're like, what? Like little things like that. They think it's like, you can't. You need to have a good looking lighting and sound. One time they wanted me to do one with no mic, and I'm like, I can't do it.
Oh yeah,
are you crazy? You want me to just?
An
hour screaming? No.
I did that once.
You did that?
Yeah, it was like maybe 15, 16 years ago. I was doing college tours.
Yeah.
This college in Ohio, man, just a couple of dudes. I didn't know. It was like I was a student association. I showed up. They were like, oh no, there's a show today. So let's do it in the cafeteria. I literally stood on a lunch table. Man, guy was eating burger behind me. It was like, man, it was.
I did one too in the cafeteria.
It was sad.
With one person.
Oh no!
Literally, there was one person.
Oh no!
And I remember telling the person the organizer, I'm like just cancel it. It's like, why?
Yeah.
And they're like, no, let's do it. And I'm like, so that cafeteria, one person, I'm performing to one person while everybody else is getting their lunch. It's just like, I'm like, what? And it's one of those things just like, I mean, that's the thing with stand-up. We got so many stories like that because people they think you can do stand-up anywhere. Or you can do it anywhere. It's not like that.
Actually, that's how a lot of stand-up comedians bond.
Yeah.
Because I go to Australia.
The bad stories.
I go to the road stories, man. But then there are some good stories too. I remember I went to this college. It's just basically a group of female students. What they did is they put my show info into a fortune cookie.
Oh, that's cool.
And then they just distribute it in the dorms.
That's
man,
cool.
Like 500 people, theater is packed.
Nice.
Yeah, because people know it.
And I done some colleges too where they do know how to do it well. They bring people. It's in a good theater or whatever, So then you have a great show.
Oh yeah.
So then I remember when I first started doing those colleges too, like in the beginning, I had no idea. So I remember I would take it personally because I was like, oh, nobody came. And I'm like, and then I realized, oh, it's just a college event.
Exactly.
Like they're just trying to do things for the students, and some people are gonna come. So it's not you. It's just like you're just whatever.
Exactly. You have to remember that. Because you go to college, you just see on the bulletin board just so many flyers.
Stuff, and also it's like and I even when I went to college here, I mean in Maryland, like. I didn't even know there was stand-up. I never went to any stand-up show. I had no idea it was a thing. I never did any activities in the college. I was always doing like going to DC and partying in the club. So like I wasn't even like doing.
You're more a club guy.
So I was like, oh, I realized that they had all these activities as I was doing stand-up. You know what I mean?
I was like, yeah, don't you kind of wish you had started earlier, when you were in college and stuff,
No, of course. I mean, there's so many times I was like, man, not even if I started, stand up, but also acting, if I would have done taking an acting class even in high school or college.
I know.
Or just, yes, of course. But also at the end of the day, it's like, at least for me, at least it didn't, after I came across with the realization, hey, I don't like what I'm doing, let me change it. So I did it, I didn't. But yes, obviously, if it was a thing, like, I mean, to me, that's a gift when you know what you want to do in the beginning. Like when you're a kid, you're like, this is what you want to do.
That's sweet.
That's the best thing you can do. It's like, because I was a kid that was always like, trying to be cool.
Okay.
So I was doing the stuff that other people were doing that was cool instead of doing the stuff that I wanted to do.
Well, but the thing is, at the time you don't know what you want yet. You just want to.
But that's why it's great if you're a kid and you know what you want. Like if you're 12 years old and like, no, I'm gonna be an actor. I'm gonna be a doctor. I'm gonna be, and this is what I don't care what anybody says. That's. But that's few people. I mean, we all because we all also want to be friends and belong. And acting when I was growing up, it wasn't like a cool thing. Like in my high school, it wasn't like. It was like
me too.
Like, it wasn't like
if you're into reading or writing or acting,
like,
it's like
a nerd or something.
Exactly.
Like, so then, but I do remember, and that's why I know like I do like this is always in me. I remember one time I was doing track and we were coming from practice. I remember there was a theater. The people are rehearsing or something. I remember just walking by and I got this like urge to be like I remember feeling and going like, man, I like that.
Really? Oh yeah.
But I had to like kind of like
just suppress
it because I was like, but it was one of those things like, man, it was always in me. I just didn't want to let it out because what people were gonna say about me or whatever.
Well, that's interesting because one of the reasons I tell jokes on stage is also when I was with my friends and coworkers, sometimes I would just tell a joke and nobody's laughing. I was like, oh, this is funny. I just feel that it might work on stage. So I always have that inkling, even though I didn't even know stand-up comedy at the time. I just always feel that there's something there.
That's funny. For me was more about where I was always. A lot of times I was trying to be serious and people would laugh.
You're the opposite.
And I'd be like, but it never occurred to me of like, oh, I gotta do a stand up. But it was more of like, oh man, I am funny. Even when I don't want to be funny, I'm funny.
Okay.
So that means, which when I started thinking about doing stand up, I'm like, all right, let me try because the whole world is telling me that I'm funny. So it's like, might as well try it and see if I am on stage, which is obviously different, as we know, because a lot of people was like, hey, I can make my friends laugh. It's like, well, that's.
But you're so comfortable on stage, though.
But it took me a while. It wasn't.
Real? Okay.
It wasn't like I never had that. No, I was. It wasn't. But there is one thing though that I am not gonna lie, and it is the truth. Just being on stage, I am more comfortable being on stage than off stage. Like even the beginning when I didn't know what I was doing, I felt comfortable. I felt
real.
It wasn't, but I wasn't like the kid in the gets to the party, it's like, yeah, you know, like, everybody knows and knows how to talk. No, but when I'm on stage, I do have that.
Oh, okay.
Like what Michael Jackson had or something, you know what I mean? He was very shy, and then he would go up and do all this, amazing things. It's like, so I do have that. When I'm on stage, it just, I do change into this person, you know?
Yeah, totally get it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, thank you again for coming to my podcast.
Of course. No, thank you
I always enjoyed your comedy.
Yeah.
And,
me too.
Yeah, I wish you the best.
Same.
Okay.
Let's keep working together.
Yeah, definitely. And just before we go, just let people know where to find you.
Okay. You can find me in my car. It's gonna be no.
That's parked in front of your house all the time.
Right here. Yes, I'm always watching. Yeah. So you can find me on social media at F Ramos Comedy. That's F Ramos Comedy, not F Ramos.
F Ramos.
F Ramos Comedy. Yeah, Francisco, or my website, franciscoeramos.com. Yeah, check it out over there, all my information there. And you can check out my special on YouTube. It's called Venezuela American. I also have a podcast that hopefully when we start having more interviews, you can come in. It's called Thanks for Nothing.
Thanks for
podcast.
Nothing. Okay, cool.
And yeah, follow me, and then if you come see me live, and come see us live.
Oh, exactly.
Yeah,
we perform all the time.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, well, thanks again.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.